The next topic is use of language. So let's explore the use of language in detail. Language is a fundamental and versatile tool of communication used by humans for a wide range of purposes. Its uses are diverse and essential for interpersonal relationships, education, culture, and the functioning of society. Understanding the various uses of language is crucial. First, let's dive into primary uses of language: expressive function, emotional expression. Language is a vital medium for expressing emotions, feelings, and personal experiences. People use language to convey joy, sorrow, love, anger, and a range of other emotions. For example, through language, we express happiness by saying, I'm so thrilled. Then self expression. Language allows individuals to express their thoughts, beliefs, opinions, and identities. It enables people to define who they are, what they stand for, and what they value. This use is essential for self assertion and self realization. Then, informative function, transmission of knowledge. Language is a primary means of transmitting knowledge. Through language, we convey facts, ideas, theories, and information. This function is vital for education, science, and cultural preservation. For instance, textbooks and academic lectures use language to impart knowledge. Then, documentation and record keeping. Written and spoken language are used for documenting historical events, scientific discoveries, legal arguments, and various records. Language ensures that information is preserved for future generations. Then, directive function, giving instructions. Language is used to provide directions and instructions. In everyday life, this function is evident when someone gives directions for a route or a teacher guides students on how to solve a math problem. Then, command and control. In military, law enforcement, and emergency services, language plays a crucial role in issuing commands and controlling operations. Precision language is paramount to avoid misunderstandings. When persuasive function, argumentation, language is used to persuade and influence others. Through argumentation, people present reasons, evidence, and appeals to logic and emotions to convince others of their point of view. This function is vital in fields such as law, politics, and advertising. In advertising and marketing, language is employed to craft persuasive messages in advertising and marketing to entice consumers to purchase products or services. Effective language use is crucial for these industries. Phatic function, social interaction. The phatic function of language serves as a social lubrication. It includes greetings, small talk, and other communication designed to maintain social connections and interactions. For example, saying how are you is a phatic expression of social engagement. An aesthetic function, artistic expression. Language is a medium for creative and artistic expression. It is used in poetry, literature, music, and various forms of art to evoke emotions, beauty, and imaginative experiences. For instance, poets use language to create vivid imagery and metaphors. Then, ritualistic function, ceremonial language. Language plays a vital role in ceremonies, rituals, and religious practices. It is used to convey sacred texts, perform rituals, and engage in symbolic acts. For example, religious ceremonies often involve reciting prayers and scripture. Cultural and identity function, preservation of culture. Language is a carrier of culture, allowing communities to pass down traditions, theories, and values from one generation to the next. Different languages contribute to the diversity of world cultures. Then, group identity. Language can be a marker of group identity, including nationality, ethnicity, or social class. It helps people identify with a particular community or culture. So, understanding this multifaceted use of language is essential for studying linguistics, communication, and social cultural dynamics. Then, connotations and denotations of terms. Let's explore connotations and denotations of terms. Connotations and denotation of terms. Connotations and denotations are two aspects of the meaning of words and expressions in language. Understanding these concepts is crucial for the study of linguistics, semantics, and communication, particularly at the UGC NET level. So let's delve into these concepts. Detonation. Denotation refers to the literal, precise, and primary meaning of a word or expression. It represents the specific, objective, and universally accepted definition of a term. Denotative meanings are generally agreed upon within a linguistic community and can be found in dictionaries. They are often associated with the physics or factual aspects of the word's meaning. Examples: the denotation of cat is a small carnivorous mammal with a retractable claws. The denotation of apple is a round oval fruit with firm white flesh and red, green, or yellow skin. Connotation refers to the secondary, implied, emotional, or associative meanings of a word or expression. Connotations are often shaped by cultural, social, and personal factors. They can carry positive or negative emotions, cultural associations, or subjective interpretations. Examples: the word home may denote a physical residence but connotate feelings of comfort, safety, and belonging. So, youth denotes a period in a person's life but connotates characteristics like cheerful, energy, vitality, and idealism. Significance of connotations and denotations. Communication. Connotations and denotations play a crucial role in effective communication. When using words, speakers and writers must consider how their audience might interpret both the denotative and connotative meanings. Then, emotional impact. Connotations can greatly affect the emotional impact of language. Choosing words with positive or negative connotations can influence how a message is perceived. For example, certify positive, thrifty. That's a positive connotation, and sting, negative connotation, would refer to some saving money, but the connotations differ. Then, marketing and persuasion. In advertising and persuasive communication, understanding connotations is vital. Words with positive connotations are often used to create a favorable impression of products or ideas. The role of context. The interpretation of connotations and denotations can vary depending on the context in which words are used. For example, the word old might denote a person's age but connotates wisdom and experience in one context and frailty in other. Sociocultural factors. Connotations can be influenced by sociocultural factors influencing regional dialects, historical events, and societal norms. What has a positive connotation in one culture might have a different connotation in another. Then, pragmatics and discourse analysis. The study of connotations and denotations is vital in pragmatics and discourse analysis as it helps analyze how language functions in specific contexts, interactions, and discourse communities. So, understanding connotations and denotations is a critical aspect of linguistics and communication studies. It sheds light on how language is used to convey both literal and nuanced meanings and how words can carry emotional and cultural weight beyond their dictionary definitions. This knowledge is invaluable for effective communication, textual analysis, and cultural understanding. Then, classical square of opposition. Classical square of opposition is a fundamental concept in traditional logic, particularly in the study of categorical syllogisms. It was introduced by Aristotle, the ancient Greek philosopher, and serves as a visual representation of the relationships between different types of categorical propositions. The square provides insights into the logical relationships between these propositions and helps in analyzing the validity of syllogisms. Let's delve into the details of the classical square of opposition. The four types of categorical propositions in traditional logic. There are four basic types of categorical propositions. Proposition A, universal affirmative. These propositions affirm that all members of a category are included in another category. For example, all humans are mortal. Then E, proposition, universal negative. First one was universal affirmative. A, then universal negative. All humans are mortal. Then, no, I'm sorry. The next proposition, universal negative. These propositions deny that any members of a category are included in another category. For example, no cats or fish. Then I proposition, particularly affirmative. This proposition affirms that at least one member of a category is included in another category. For example, some birds can fly. Then O proposition, particular negative. These propositions deny that at least one member of a category is included in another category. For example, some cars are not red. The classical square of opposition. The classical square of opposition arranges these four types of propositions in a square format with specific relationships. A proposition, universal affirmative, is contradictory to E proposition, universal negative. This means that if one is true, the other must be false and vice versa. For example, if it is true that all humans are mortal, then it must be false that no humans are mortal. I proposition, particular affirmative, is contradictory to O proposition, particular negative, similar to the relationship between A and E propositions. If one is true, the other must be false and vice versa. For example, if it is true that some birds can fly, then it must be false that some birds cannot fly. A proposition, universal affirmative, implies proposition, particular affirmative. If it is true that all humans are mortal, then it follows that some humans are mortal. Then E proposition, universal negative, implies O proposition, particular negative. If it is true that no cats are fish, then it follows that some cats are not fish. There is no logical relationship between A and O, E and I. Unlike the other relationships, there is no direct logical connection between A and O propositions or the E and I propositions. They can both be true at the same time. For example, it can be true that all humans are mortal and some humans are not immortal. An application in syllogistic logic. The classical square of opposition is especially useful in the analysis of syllogisms. A syllogism is a form of argument consisting of two premises and a conclusion. By applying the relationship within the square, logicians can assess the validity of syllogisms. For example, a syllogism with two universal negative premises is invalid as it violates the rules of the square. Then modern extensions. In contemporary logic, the classical square of opposition has been extended and refined. The modern square includes additional propositions and relationships to address more complex forms of categorical statements. These extensions allow for a broader and more nuanced analysis of logical relationships. The classical square of opposition is a foundational concept in traditional logic, originating with Aristotle. It provides a structured framework for understanding the logical relationships between different types of categorical propositions and serves as a valuable tool for evaluating the validity of syllogisms. The application extends to various fields within philosophy, linguistics, and formal logic, making it a significant logic topic. Then evaluating and distinguishing deductive and inductive reasoning. Evaluating and distinguishing deductive and inductive reasoning. Deductive and inductive reasoning are two primary modes of inference used in logic and critical thinking. Understanding the differences between them and evaluating their strengths and limitations is essential. Deductive reasoning. Definition. Deductive reasoning is a logical process in which specific conclusions are drawn from general premises. It involves moving from the broad to the specific with the goal of producing logically certain conclusions. Then validity. In a deductive reasoning, if the premises are true and the structure of the argument is valid, the conclusion must be true. It is a matter of preserving truth. All men are mortal. Socrates is a man. Therefore, Socrates is mortal. If it's raining, the ground is wet. The ground is wet, therefore it's raining. Then, inductive reasoning. Definition. Inductive reasoning is a process of generalizing from specific observations to form broad conclusions. It involves moving from the specific to the general, and the conclusions are probabilistic, not certain. Then, strength. Inductive reasoning provides evidence and support to a conclusion, but it does not guarantee that the conclusion is true. It's a matter of probability and evidence. Then every swan I have observed is white, therefore all swans are probably white. The sun has risen every day in the past, therefore the sun will probably rise tomorrow. Then distinguishing deductive and inductive reasoning. Deductive reasoning aims for certainty. If the premises are true and the argument is valid, the conclusion is certain. In contrast, inductive reasoning deals with probabilities and likelihood, not certainty. Then validity versus strength. In deductive reasoning, the focus is on the validity of the argument's structure. In inductive reasoning, the focus is on the strength of the evidence. Then conclusiveness. Deductive arguments aim for conclusive, definite conclusions. Inductive arguments result in conclusions that are tentative and subject to revision based on new evidence. Then evaluating in deductive reasoning. The soundness. To evaluate deductive reasoning, and addresses the soundedness of the argument. An argument is sound if it is valid. The conclusion follows from the premise, and all premises are true. Sound deductive argument provide conclusive true conclusions. Validity check. Assessing the logical validity of the argument structure is crucial in evaluating deductive reasoning. If an argument is valid, it means that if its premises are true, the conclusion must be true. Then evaluating in deductive reasoning. Strength of evidence. In inductive reasoning, the strength of the evidence is crucial. Evaluators need to consider the quality, quantity, and relevance of the evidence provided. Then in inductive strength, it's essential to determine the strength of the argument based on the evidence. So strong inductive arguments have evidence that makes the conclusion highly probable, while weak inductive arguments have less compelling evidence. Then real-world application. Scientific hypotheses are often formed using inductive reasoning based on empirical observations. Then deductive reasoning is used to draw specific testable predictions from this hypothesis. Then legal system. Deductive reasoning is employed in legal systems to establish guilt or innocence. Used to build cases based on evidence. Deductive and inductive reasoning are two distinct but complementary modes of reasoning. Evaluating them requires an understanding of their goals, methods, and criteria. Distinguishing between the two forms of reasoning is essential in critical thinking, problem solving, and academic research. Both modes of reasoning play a critical role in various fields of study, and these are very important.